Hey everyone, habari zenu, como esta, konnichiwa, guten tag, horo wanyu, and all the other greetings. It is Kenyan Hippie back with a new video. If you are a new subby or you just came across my video on my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're gonna stick around. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I love y'all. Before I begin, President Ruto has been the president of Kenya for 3 years now. The last election was 2022, and I cannot tell you whether or not it was rigged. It usually is. Ruto ran on the premise of two things: fake promises and tribalism. That's basically what happens in African countries, especially Kenya. And since he's been president, he has done nothing but sell the country out to investors, to foreign companies, everything he can to destroy the country, from overtaxing people.
And listening keenly to the people of Kenya who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede.
Misusing government funds.
I want to thank Mbadi for bringing out some of the issues. Like he talked about selling some assets. Kenya Pipeline Corporation. The pipeline is underground from Mombasa through here. Even if you sell it, where is somebody taking it to?
Misusing taxpayer funds. Anything under the sun you can think of, he's done. Now, as it pertains to Bill Gates, his involvement in any affairs, let alone Kenyan affairs, is always going to spark some controversy.
So Wadao, this is the other video I said I wanted to talk about. This is the major question we should be asking ourselves. What does this man want from Africa? Do you guys want to tell me that you truly believe as Africans that this man is so philanthropic, that this man is so loving, so caring about black people, we Africans, that this man is willing to come and help us feed ourselves? This man is willing to come and help us educate our children. This man is willing to come and help us solve our problems in health sector. You truly want to tell me you believe that this man is such a philanthropist, that he has such a good heart and love for humanity, especially those in Africa?
So this time round, Bill Gates has approached several African countries, including Burkina Faso, which Ibrahim Traore said no. But no, President Ruto just says, yes, please come and destroy our country. Thanks so much.
Continuing its global push to support its so-called government-backed digital ID programs. And this time setting its sight on Kenya, where it will advise the government on that country's Maisha Namba digital ID initiative that is currently under development. So according to a Kenyan news agency, Gates' role is assisting the Kenyan government in its development, and the rollout of Maisha Namba was announced after a recent series of the closed-door meetings with Kenyan President William Ruto.
The Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation is going to begin an 8-year birth control initiative. Bill Gates is a name synonymous with technological innovations and massive philanthropic endeavors. And I put those in quotation marks for a reason, because it's more corporate social responsibility than it is just from the goodness of his heart. And he's also directed significant funds toward health and development programs in Kenya and other parts of Africa.
We are being told to vaccinate. Who is funding our vaccination programs? You've seen Bill Gates has literally moved into this country. He's moved in every little thing. He himself, of course, they talk about methane emissions. They're talking about cow's fat a lot. That's what I'm telling you, that the information out there is really confusing. The Bill Gates and the proponents of the carbon emissions, they say cows are producing too much methane. And this vaccination is a vaccination to reduce the methane. The president says another whole thing. The Ministry of Livestock, because even them, they're not even convinced about what they're saying. But it begs to answer a lot of questions. So you're vaccinating the cows, okay? And the goats and the sheep. Have you vaccinated the buffaloes, the elephants? They are all herbivores. They are all zebras. They are all herbivores. The process of digestion for domestic animals is the same as the wild animals. So if your reasoning is we want to reduce methane, I think you're lying. I think you're not telling us the truth.
Now, while the goals of these programs about improving health and empowering women and fostering economic development look like they are positive, we need to also scrutinize the philosophies and the why of these actions. One major source of concern for me personally as a Kenyan American is Bill Gates' 2010 TED Talk on depopulation.
And that temperature increase leads to some very negative effects. The effects on the weather, this is something that has to get to zero. It's about 20 tons. For people in poor countries, it's less than 1 ton. It's an average about 5 tons for everyone on the planet. You've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero, and that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
I will say that when I posted this on TikTok, something similar about this on TikTok, the video did not last 5 minutes before it was taken down very quickly for violating community guidelines and misinformation. Gates very blatantly stated that population growth was a contributing factor, that new vaccines, healthcare, and reproductive health could lower carbon dioxide emissions. Critics and myself take this statement as an endorsing of depopulation measures. This whole idea of trying to help Kenya with their reproductive health, it may look innocent on the surface, but I promise you, it's not what it looks like. I don't see it as health and empowerment of Kenyan women. There is something going on behind the scenes. There is nothing that Bill Gates does that is just out of the goodness of his heart. It would also be very, very gauche of us to not note the fact that some of the track records of birth control initiatives in other countries have raised very ethical questions to do with cultural sensitivities, consent, individual autonomy. So it's fair for us to be suspicious about his motive. The Bill Gates Foundation has been touting its commitment for empowerment of women and improvement of women's health and economic empowerment and access to voluntary family planning services. However, the power dynamics cannot be ignored. With this whole concern about neocolonialism and the influence of the West, you would think that a president with his head straight, which does not include Ruto, would be suspicious of the involvement of Bill Gates. Why does he need to be in Kenya? What is he trying to do? What is he trying to achieve? Knowing the kind of influence Bill Gates has and shaking hands with the Kenyan president only means there's going to be some sort of influence he's going to have over Kenyan policies. That is why I'm so suspicious of him. Let's also not forget that during COVID-19, yes, you all remember that, those dark times, Gates was a major funder of vaccine research and manufacturing. That Fauci ouchie, which I call the Fauci ouchie, that the vaccine that has caused so many issues, that was not only mandated in certain areas, especially in Kenya, but it was also incentivized. People lost their jobs. Don't forget that he funded that heavily. His efforts helped accelerate the rollout of this vaccine in countries, again, including Kenya. And this also led to concerns about potential monopolies and the external influence over Africa's affairs. Let me make this clear. The debate is not necessarily about whether providing contraception is right or wrong. For many women, it's going to seem very beneficial, right? You know, the woman in the village who can't afford her reproductive health, because that is a concern. Because again, African countries do not take care of their people, the majority of them. Kenya is included in that group. There is no social welfare programs for people who are living under the poverty line. So I can see why this would seem beneficial to them. However, the intent behind these efforts is my main concern. And I wish more Kenyans would open their eyes to this. Because ironically, every time I've seen someone posting these kinds of news, I see a lot of people in support of it. People are jumping to say, oh my God, yay. Just looking at Ruto, the man, and what he's done to Kenya so far, the destruction he's caused in Kenya so far, should automatically make you very suspicious of this new partnership. But also looking at Bill Gates, the man himself, and what he's done so far, should also make you question things.
No, everyone wants to pretend that he's just like this amazing philanthropist. Like, no, he made a lot of money. This is motivated by money, and his entire career he's been motivated by money.
Him and his foundation are not as quick clean as you wish they were. What might be able to help this, which it won't really change my mind, but the actions they might take to be able to win people over, and the critiques especially from people like myself, increased transparency from the Gates Foundation regarding what their goals are and the evaluation metrics in Kenya. 2, robust engagement with Kenyan communities, especially on the grassroots level, the village level, and ensuring that the local leadership buy into this. If they don't, then you're not going to do anything. Critical media scrutiny. I hope the Kenyan media houses will jump on this and scrutinize the intentions behind this partnership. Again, these initiatives have got to be scrutinized and critically looked at. Ultimately, the goal of this should be empowerment of Kenyans, improvement of Kenyan women's health, and to align with the needs of Kenyans. However, I have my concerns, I have my doubts. Ruto by himself is a concern, but so is Bill Gates. They are both red flags in their own regard. And because of that, I have a feeling something is going to happen that we will see in a matter of time. The fact that Ruto has been continuing to sell Kenya out, the airport, the nearest seller, KICC, buildings that have been in the country for decades. They are the pride of Kenya. But he doesn't care about that. I feel like my suspicions are very founded and valid. But let me know your thoughts. If you are in Kenya, what are your thoughts on it? What are your worries? What are your concerns? What are your feelings about this? If you're outside of Kenya, for example, if you're an American, what do you think about this initiative? Do you think it's genuine, or do you have suspicions as much as I do? And those who scream neocolonialism, you better not be on board with this. Because every time I've heard people complaining about, oh, Western influence, oh, sanctions. Yes, of course, every time you accept help, which is why I'm very much against USAID and the World Bank and IMF. Because let's get real, those programs never assist anyone on the grassroots, ever. Which is again why I'm suspicious of this whole thing. The women at the grassroots who need the help are not going to get the help they need. Because these funds are going to be gatekept and misused, as we all know. Those who scream that neocolonialism is taking hold in Africa, but you think it's a good idea to keep accepting the assistance of Western countries who are going to put conditions and sanctions in order to agree to these partnerships, then you're being a hypocrite. I hope everyone can look at these things with a very critical eye, because I, for one, have become very paranoid about Bill Gates and anything Bill Gates related. If you have thoughts, let me know in the comment section. I will ask you to be polite in the comments. Any insults will not be seen in the light of day. If you've watched this far, thank you so much. I hope you like, comment, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload any new videos. I will see you guys in the next one. Kenyan Hippie out.